Okay, good morning and welcome to Mishna Yomi, or Truth Mishna. We're learning Mesachas Sheviis, Perek Sheni, Mishnah Zayin, Ches today. We'll start with Mishnah Zayin. Orez v'adochan v'aprogin v'ashumshamin sheshrishu l'fnei Rosh Hashanah ma'asun l'sha'avar mutarim b'Sheviis. As maybe we've explained, as we've seen in other Masechtas, there has to be a point where you determine which crops their Shumas and Maishos come from last year. There's a cutoff point, right? What is that cutoff point, right? It says there's a date in the Torah. The Torah Masechtas Rosh Hashanah talks about that, but at what point do you deem that the fruit or the vegetable has grown enough that it's already considered to be from last year or from this year? For example, if the cutoff point is Tu B'Shvat, so what has to happen for Tu B'Shvat to be counted as Shumas Meisos from last year? And if that hasn't happened for Tu B'Shvat, then it'll be counted with next year's produce, Shumas Meisos. So when it comes to, I'm giving you background information, when it comes to Yerakos, when it comes to vegetables, then it goes after Lakita when it's actually picked, plucked, fully grown. When it comes to fruits, a fruit tree, it comes after the Chanata, when the first bud emerges, first fruit, the young fruit emerges, it's first emerging from the tree. That is the cutoff point. When it comes to zaysim and when it comes to tvua, wheat and things like that, it's a third of its growth. And here we found that a fourth determining factor, and that's by these things. Ha'orez, the reason it's brought over here is because it has nafkamina for Shemitah also, right? If it's part of the seventh year produce, you're not allowed to benefit from it. Ha'orez v'adochan, rice, and dochan, millet. I don't exactly know what millet is. V'aprogin, the type of pomegranate, v'ashumshamin, sesame seeds, yeshishul l'fnei Rosh Hashanah. They took root. This fourth determining factor is taking root in the ground. Mizasum l'sha'avar. So Rosh Hashanah is the cutoff point for a lot of these dinim. So Aleph Tishrei. So if they took root in the ground before Rosh Hashanah, so then they're counted as the previous year. So whatever the previous year is. So if it's the first and second year, you take Meiser Sheni. If it's fourth and fifth year Meiser Sheni, third and sixth year Meiser Ani. Mutar and B'Shvias, and the sixth year, if it happened before Rosh Hashanah of Shemitah, so then it'll be the 6 years per you take Meiser Ani. But if it took root during the seventh, during Shemitah, so then it's part of Shemitah produce. You can't really benefit from it. You could benefit, but you have to know it Kedusha Shia. So Misasrin L'Shana Haba. And if it's not a year of Shemitah, it happens the fifth year after Rosh Hashanah, so then it would have the din of Trumas and Maisha, so the fifth year, whatever those are, Meiser Sheni, Meiser Ani, fourth year, Meiser Sheni, Meiser Ani, as opposed to the third year, Meiser Ani. Mishnah Ches, Reb Shimon Shazuri, Omer, Shimon Shazuri says, Paula Mystery, Zara Lazera, Batchila Kayotza Behen. Egyptian bean. What's an Egyptian bean? It's actually called the broad bean or the fava bean. This is part of Egyptian cuisine. One of the main dishes in Egyptian cuisine is called ful modamis. It's made predominantly from Egyptian beans or broad beans or fava beans mixed with some oil, salt, vinegar, whatever they put in there. They eat it in the morning with pita, with bread. This is one of the main staple dishes in Egypt. Even until today, it's called ful for short. Ful, madam is ful for short. Pola mitzri, let's say you plant the pola mitzri not to eat the actual bean, but to have more seeds that you can plant more of them. So then that also would go based on hashrasha. If you in terms of calculating which year for Trumas Meisos or whether it's Shemitah year, it would be dependent on whether it took root, when it took root. Big peas, snow peas. Also, they go after hashrasha. Those are the different opinion. He says these snow peas, big peas in the pea pod, it actually when they mature in the pod, that it actually each pod becomes separate. So then that is the determining factor, not the hashash, not the typical root of the plant, but rather that happens. We don't pass like that. We pass and it goes after hashrasha. So here we have a fourth category of when you calculate Shemitah and Shomel and Maestros. Stay tuned for Ian Ben Sion, where we'll talk more in depth about these Mishnayos. Bye.